So you're the PDM, apparently. Have you signed out your 100 million? And PDM equivalent, you are a full parish.
You see, Oscar.
So the morning show, you saw how they were laying the carpet down for you.
Yes.
But then I saw you are still driving your old car. So where is the 100?
First of all, this money is not like other money given to MPs formally.
Oh.
Because in the past we've been given controversial money, but formally.
Yeah. There was the time of 14, 28.
Yeah, I think the last one was the 20 million during
COVID.
During COVID.
You mean the formal one?
I said formally money is going to be put on your account.
Yeah.
And it is with trace.
Yeah.
You therefore cannot claim I did not receive it because there is trace. It can be traced. This particular one being given under the table, it's very difficult to know who has received and who hasn't. Therefore, the question you ask, every MP will tell you, I did not receive. I have said that many times. Until M7 came, the whole NRM was saying, no, we did not give money. Mia was in Chitogomo. But M7 came without confirming, but he confirmed. And then he gave a justification, a fake one. But at least he cleared some air. So he did. If you read, he was justifying. Yes, he was justifying, but he did not have to admit in the form maybe he wanted, but he was admitting. Yeah. So until that, the standard response was that we don't know, we're just hearing. For us as opposition, we convened a meeting, questioned ourselves and said, if either you have received, or if you have received or not received, you must not accept to receive this money. If you have received, you must return it. And we issued a statement. So that's as far as I am concerned that has happened. But this money given in those circumstances is very difficult to trace, Oscar.
Yeah. Have you received?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
Yeah.
And if it is available to you, will you receive?
It cannot be available to me.
Why not?
The money from its story is to thank people who had voted for 1, 2, 3 things, and also in the preparation for the UPDF Amendment Act that is on its way. I think next week it will be tabled. I don't think they want my support, or they think they can get it.
Yeah. So there's someone, Isaac, on Twitter.
I read the President Museveni's letter, and I sent you, Oscar, part of my report I tabled to Parliament. And at the time I was making that response, of course the many NRM MPs were shouting at me. Because the trouble doesn't start with giving, it starts with making that sort of money available. And this year, the financial year hasn't ended. The budget for the residence of the president, where Moses Biarwanga works as a senior presidential advisor, the budget for that residence has gone to 1 trillion, 600 billion of which is classified, which is 57% of the whole State House budget. I did ask in Parliament, and it is in my report, I suggested we need to set up a committee and interview the president and his wife to tell us what classified thing that they are doing in State House that require 600 billion.
Or the comptroller?
No. Actually, State House was not meant even to have a State House control, equivalent of a permanent secretary, because it is a residence under the law.
Yes.
And the president operates an office.
Yes.
So vote 001 is his residence. Vote 001.
But does it not happen world over?
No, it doesn't. Even in Uganda, by the way, at the beginning, it wasn't.
In the US, that's what it is.
Not in Uganda.
No.
They can afford it.
Go back to the beginning.
Or they can afford it in the US, not Uganda.
No, go back from the very beginning. The president had a budget for president's office, and initially it was meant to be a smaller department there. Eventually, the department grew into a vote that is now bigger than money for the office itself. So the moment you make that sort of money available, I think the president will use it the way he wants it, and he will write all sorts of justifications.
Okay, let's go to our second PDM in the studio. Honorable Katuntu.
So we are now called the PDM. and Moses has told you it is very successful in the Bugwe.
He's really causing you problems. You the one person. Pardon?
I stop over in Bugweri all the time. Yes.
You are also going to stop because there one MP is equivalent to the entire parish.
That's correct.
So, Abdul, have you received? There's a tweet here. So well, it says by Isaac says at Ssemujju-Agather. Abdul has spoken so well. Now let him tie it in and conclude with Mpuga handshake money. At that point, he'll start speaking German.
Well, because I supported Mpuga or I'm a friend of Mpuga.
This is in reference to the 100 million that MPs are getting.
No. One, it will be very difficult for NMP to tell you got money. So anybody asks an MP a direct question, did you get that money or not? The answer would be, I didn't get it. And once you do that, then the burden shifts to the person who is alleging you got it. And even when you read the President Museveni letter, I just see some people are reading between lines.
Yes.
But there is nowhere in that letter, if you read it, where he says, I paid it out.
I told Oscar privately that I failed to interpret that letter.
But people are reading between what?
The
lines. Oh, this one maybe maybe he could have said, no, I didn't, or something like that. So at the end of the day, it's one. Because you see, if you allege, you have to prove. Did these MPs get money or they didn't? And who got the money? And I'm waiting to see somebody said, ask Abdu, you got this money and this. Then I can be able to speak. I say, well, I didn't get, and then say by the way, you got. Here you are. This is the money. You signed it, and so on. And let me tell you why, Oscar. I have seen some list going on social media, and this
the list says, sign that you shall not accept.
And there is one which says these ones are the ones who got. Yes. And then when you see the names, there are even people who voted against the position. The money was purportedly being paid for. So if it is a bribe, nobody gives a bribe in an open way. You get it. But what I don't want is like, okay, people were bribed, they're bribed. That doesn't make sense to me. So did some people get money? I don't know, because I have not seen anybody getting money, or I don't have that evidence. Did I get? No. And that's the only thing I can show. However, in the past, has that sort of money come? Yes, it has, and I'll tell you why. Because this one, somehow, I have evidence. I have evidence. When we are doing first of all, the term limit. Yeah, there was evidence because I engaged my friends because that time me and the Honorable Sechikuba and others were very close, and being the NRM, they had been invited to a place where the Honorable Hope Mwesige was doing the thing, and the Honorable Nifakawoy and so on. So eventually I got the evidence that actually money was being was being given. I think it was around 5 million shillings.
Between 5 and 13 million.
No. I can give you the exact figure. It was 5 million.
Well, Abdul, I'll tell you, there are some who got more.
No, because I felt that thing in detail. To the latter, I even know.
I interviewed her on NBS Face Off years later.
Yes. So to me, that you could. This one, maybe later on facts can unfold, and we start getting the evidence that actually so and so got the money and so didn't.
Let's go to the one who carried the bags, Moses Biarhanga. So, Moses, you can put it to rest. Who did you give? Who didn't you give, and why?
First of all, the 100 million, I think Abdul has put it well. I don't have more to add or subtract. On what has been raised by Honorable Ssemujju about the State House budget, in the President's letter, he put it very clearly that classified expenditure normally goes for equipping the army, buying equipment for the army, which equipment has helped in the security of the army, of Uganda. And within State House, the SFC, which is responsible for the security of the president and other leaders, the equipment is within the State House budget. So when you hear classified within the State House, it is going for the army. Part of the army. We have a security.
Classified equipment and classified expenditure. They are separated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also goes for
It is, because they are soldiers.
No, I'm telling you that as far as the operations are concerned, if the president, like now today, the president is in Yombe, or is going to Yombe, is on the way to Yombe. Now, there is a deployment there. Those deployments in terms of the operations, the movement and so forth are not meant by the defense budget, they are meant by the State House budget. Because they have to move, they have to eat, they have to do ABCD. So,
So the movement of the president is classified.
Well, the planning for it will be classified.
The point I'm making is that when UPDF, when SFC is now in Yombe, when the president is there, they had to move by road or by other means. So their movement has to be paid for under State House budget, not under defense budget. So as and many other things they do are paid for directly by the State House budget. So when Ssemujju comes here and starts talking, oh, the residence of the president takes so much, president spends so much, that money is not spent on the person or the family of the president. My salary is part of it. My fuel.
Honorable Ssemujju, switched off your microphone. We need to have a discussion.
The fuel for my vehicle.
He has responded. We shall have more discussion.
The fuel for my vehicle is part of the State House budget. It's not a budget to the person of the president.
I've sat in Moses' car before. It always has a full tank. So, Joseph, you're on my microphone. And we'll go to Agora researcher last on
yeah,
this.
it's
You may
really
have some evidence.
It's really, really sad. I just want to link this, but very briefly, that yesterday, April the 11th, was the last day known formal as a National Liberation Day. I'm linking this to the letter of Mr. Museveni. April the 11th, 1979, we thought we were liberating our country from fascism and all this kind of agencies and returning to Uganda, to the hands of Ugandans. In that very same Mr. Museveni's letter, he suggests that they from NASA had been fighting for free since 1979 until 1987. That was the basis of his attempt, very malicious blackmail to Ugandans, to attempt to justify this direct, open national theft. Mr. Museveni says his Fronasa guys liberated Uganda. Yes, Fronasa generally contributed in part to the liberation of Uganda, but they were really nowhere in Kampala. They're very busy recruiting for their long, broader national and regional agenda. But what I find outstanding is that in that letter, Mr. Museveni talks about the National Liberation Day as a by the way, but emphasizes the national theft by claiming because these guys didn't work for free until 1987. Now they can steal money as they saw fit. In Mr. Museveni's letter, the justification is as if the money was not going for members of parliament, but rather to pacify the NRA guys, some of whom came with the half sleepers in 1986 that found me at Makerere University extremely poor. If that is the justification that we're doing for 40 years, it was a very big failure. Because the reason is this money went, in this case, to legislators, elected representatives. Many of these people had not been born. So what Mr. Museveni is saying is that actually bribing Ugandans, enriching group of Ranasa guys, and by this very patronizing thing, if there's anybody in NRA, particularly legislator in NRA, who's receiving 100 million shillings from Mr. Museveni, and they're receiving this money in part because they're from NASA, and in part because they were poor, and in part because they've been working for nothing. No, you may have been working for nothing, but you're stealing our money. Nobody, at least from the 1971, UPC supported the liberation struggles and kept the Fronasa people and fed them, and many of them would have died of hunger in Tanzania.
So
but from 1981 to 1987, no Ugandan sent these guys to Luwero to go and break off people's necks. So the idea that now we are paying them back for the gift that they gave us. This 1 month after beating up citizens in Kawempe is completely extraordinary. But that said, look,
Yes.
my quick suggestion is this. Ugandans need to wake up. All Ugandans need to read Mr. Museveni's letter of yesterday and say that, look, going forward, seeing what I've been seeing in Busoga, in Bukedi, in Bugiso in the last 1 week alone, and we are giving 100 million Uganda shillings to few privileged individuals. MPs are already among the most highly paid people in this country. In fact, my suggestion is that we should slash their pay by half.
Yeah.
What should be done is Uganda should wake up and say, look, anybody who gets this money and is known to get this money should never be returned to the National Assembly.
We'll allow Agatha to close out this discussion, and then we go to bail things.
Okay, so 100 million that was allegedly given to MPs. So most times where
You speak like a good lawyer, allegedly.
where we don't, because I am, where we don't have evidence, we look at previous character. The law of evidence allows that. So it's not the first time that MPs are receiving money for appreciation or passing something. So Honorable Abdu and Ssemujju, I think, talked about the first one being term limits. There was money for age limit, consultations, also formal. Then the last formal one, as they said, was in 2020 during the COVID lockdown. Was it 20 million each? Now the problem that happened, and that's when things changed. 2 MPs went to court to challenge it, Gerald Karuhanga and Jonathan Odu, and there was evidence because this money had been put on their accounts. The court order was that they return it. That's when they,
we had Ssemujju here. He had promised not to return it. Said he would be drugged to return it, but eventually he returned it.
No, the court did.
The court did.
So what they say that when birds learn to fly without patching, so they changed the tactic and started giving out money informally. So the first informal one in this 11th parliament was in April 2022. MPs were given 40 million each. They received it, and we actually talked about it, and they denied because, as they're saying, there's no evidence now. Later, an MP called Kagabo came carrying a briefcase of money, saying, I was given money, I've been told to return it. You know what happened. So now, because of that informality, everyone can deny receiving money, but that money is received all the time. What also has happened is that they pick those that might create, and even the opposition MPs receive it. Even the NUP MPs have been receiving it. I think now it's because they have seen that the social media is alert, and they don't receive it, and they come and have all these press conferences. Or maybe they have repented, which would be a good thing. So that 40 million was in April 2022. It always follows a supplementary budget. And it's not true that anyone who doesn't support a position they are thanking them for is not given. They always budget for all the MPs. In December 2023, there was another supplementary budget passed. 100 billion was going to State House. Of that, I reported it. There was money to be given to MPs. Sometimes MPs actually, through their leaders, the leadership of parliament, ask for it. Oh, the MPs are badly off and we are going to Christmas. That's what happened in December 2023. So there was 100 million from the classified budget of State House still for MPs. That money came in January 2024 because the person who decides that they get money, the speaker had said, first to go, you will receive it later. If we give it to you now, you will spend it during Christmas and you'll come back and be crying for us. That time, Oscar, because evidence is always going to be there. It might not be there immediately. That time, there were videos of people receiving money from the speaker's office, and I think there were 2 offices. I think also the Prime Minister. The videos were there on social media, so they couldn't deny, except even then, it was hard to tell if there's an MP who hasn't received it. So now, after that, I think that time, they still first gave them 50 million, and they said, let's keep for you this 50 million. We give it to you as children are going to school. This is last year, January 2024. Now this one comes. I still had reported it before it came, after the passing of the supplementary budget. The last supplementary budget was passed mid-March or thereabouts. I still reported that there are reports that from the classified budget of State House, there's money going to MPs as a token of appreciation for both the coffee bill and also anticipation for them passing the UPDF amendment. Then it came to pass the other day, some people received. It's still not clear who hasn't received. I am told that there's a balance of 4.7 billion that hasn't been
gone out yet.
That hasn't gone out yet. But that would make it, because I think it would be too much. But the speaker had promised that everyone will get, even those opposition MPs will get. And there's balance that is still there. So some people are fighting for it and saying,
do you think
why
sometimes
don't you
the
return it?
president wants them to look bad, and that's if no one has leaked, so he leaks it?
It's quid pro quo. The president wants you give me something and take something. And I'm going to also tell you another example. Was it 2023, 2024 during the discussions of the budget when the budget committee went to the State House to meet the president? So during that time,
the budget committee meets the president. He's the owner of the budget.
Last financial year, but one. When they were before the president, that's the year of the Wabogo money, 37 billion. Yes. Now that's 37 billion. They had refused to pass it. So when they reached State House,
they abandoned us in Munyonyo and went to meet the president.
They reached State House and the president insisted, you must pass my budget, the things he wanted. I said, you think I don't know that even you guys are getting money from these entities? He even mentioned the name and said the woman that was later even taken to jail over budget corruption from Ruengo.
Yeah.
So in essence he's saying, I will let you do whatever you want, pass as long as you pass my what? My budget. So both of them in this case.
You're saying the same things Joseph was saying without putting in UPC things.
Both the president and yeah. So now on that note, I want to respond just briefly about the president's letter in trying to sanitize that. So he was saying, I've given the money. You who fight corruption, why aren't you fighting corruption of people that receive money from external whatever funders? And then he said, if you are receiving, it is okay to receive money from here. I think that's in essence what he was saying. But if you're receiving money from Western funders, you're not only corrupt, you're also a traitor. I want to say it here, and I'm glad that even Jahanga is here.
Senior President Advisor.
That Museveni, that would make Museveni the most corrupt and the most treacherous person in this country. Like, he is the number one traitor. Because I will tell you why. The budget of Uganda, 40 years after Museveni has been in power, is funded 55% by external funders through debt and grants and aid. So
what are you saying? That if he makes
money from external funders makes one not only corrupt but also a traitor, that he would be the number one, because for 40 years straight, he has received money from external funders. Thank you.
I can see this lunch is going to be very long. You know, before you came, I made a confession.
Tone and reply. Really, is it about competition of who receives the funds from?
No, Abdul. Before you came in, I told Ssemujju.
It's about the blackmail that Joseph talked about. Yeah. If you come and Ugandans are asking, why are you? By the way, yes, I am.
You know, the one the president said.
Yeah.
Speak about money that ordinary civil society receive.
What was he speaking about?
He said money to promote homosexuality.
No, I have never received money.
No, that's the one he was.
In that money, by
nobody
the way,
receives this, goes on the microphone and says, yes, I've received money.
But he says he receives funding from outside.
No, for what reason?
For her
You
research.
mean Agatha?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
No, she has said it.
Nobody
Yeah, I have said
receives
it
money
here before.
for homosexuality. Say yes, I've received money for
Oh, for
homosexuality.
So
So they will come and they do just
I'm
fine.
trying
But
to say
Abdul,
that
now
I could as well
homosexuality
be
is-
receiving money for homosexuality.
I didn't say that, but maybe
And you
if
know,
I read the
right
line
away-
between
Abdul,
the
you are
lines.
vulgarizing because homosexuality is illegal in Uganda.
Yes,
So you
Okay, and Abdul is, because for me actually my biggest problem is that you come as a president to give Ugandans a position about an issue, and instead of even saying anything about it, you start blackmailing them. How come this
Now I have to allow Moses to respond.
about
As if we
this
don't
and
know
that.
Museveni's friends
Yeah.
of the last 40 years, and you can count, including on this program. Big names from Europe, big names from North
now
America.
let Moses respond.
He
So
had
we,
no
so
answer,
that we
so
go.
he created his own.
Who Moses?
Museveni did not want to discuss the subject matter, so he chose his own topic.
Moses.
Well, Agatha is here saying Museveni does not receive money from outside.
You need to go to the microphone.
President Museveni does not receive money from outside. He does not. The government,
I only have Moses' microphone
The
because
gov-
Ant has to finish his topic.
the government of Uganda has been borrowing, and borrowing is you pay back. It's not for free. You know it very well. In every budget, wait. In every budget, there is money for repayment or debt repayment. Meaning, the money you got was not for free. But the ones he's talking about, the Agatha's get, is for free. Don't pay back. Don't pay back. Do you, so the government of Uganda, yes, borrows. There's no doubt about it. Everybody and those borrowings are
I only
passed-
have his microphone.
and
I want
those-
it to
and those
understand.
borrowings-
Why are you allowing him to miss?
First of
He's
all,
only one. There's only one person against
the
so many.
borrowing
So I
of
should
the
allow
government,
him.
by the government of Uganda is illegal. It is in the constitution. No loan can be passed without parliamentary approval. So the MPs who are here pass any loan of the government. So it's not a money for President Museveni, it's money for Uganda, and Uganda pays back through debt repayment. So there's no free money.
Yeah. You have a supporter here, Dr. Warren Namara says Agatha should understand that President Museveni receives money for development, not for destabilizing and illegal schemes. That's Warren. So, Abdul, you have been talking about bail in Parliament, talking about bail and money, and why is it that the judiciary sees bail in terms of money? And now yesterday, even after I'd posted the topics for discussion, we see Dr. Kizza Besigye was denied bail. So I don't know how you link all that.
First of all, we are currently the budget process. So the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, where I'm honored to be the ranking member, was meeting the statutory and ministries that we pretend over. One of them is the judiciary. So I try to, because this is the only time you can hold the judiciary accountable. There is no constitutional mechanism where the judiciary can account it to its own people formally, except at parliamentary level. So when meeting us, I raised what I thought were the concerns of the public. The quality of justice, actually it was even bigger, the quality of justice being dispensed by the judiciary. And I put it to them that actually the people of Uganda are dissatisfied. They are not happy with the quality of justice. And I went through quite a catalog of particular areas where I thought many Ugandans are complaining. Oscar and colleagues, you just need to know what is in these remand prisons. How many people are on remand without, how many people have been on remand for how long? It is not 2-3 years. We are talking about 5, 10, 20 years. And somebody is on remand. So even if he is found not guilty and acquitted, but he has served a sentence. And the Constitution clearly commands that we should look at anybody accused as innocent until proven guilty. And that is the reason why bail was introduced. It's constitutional. Don't convict this person to start serving a sentence before he's found guilty. So to go back to that particular aspect of bail, I think there is a dissatisfaction from the public, and I wish the judiciary can listen. Okay, a few judges have been engaging me thereafter and telling me what has been going on their group, and even passing me what they have been exchanging and so on. Some of them are actually enraged. They are really not happy with what their colleagues are doing. And they have sent me their internal things, and it makes very interesting reading. But let me say one thing. Bail is so when somebody is taken to court, is presumed innocent until that process ends. So, because he's presumed innocent, he's supposed to be out so long as he can guarantee that he will not abscond from bail or abscond from the trial, and two, he will not interfere with the prosecution case. Those are the two cornerstones. What the courts have done is, one, they have monetized the bail, that you must have money to be granted bail. It's in rare circumstances that they give what we call a court bond, or to be released on your own cognizance that somehow you will attend. Instead, it's about money. And I'm like, is it an economic function that the rich ones don't jump bail? Or why is it about money? And when you look at even the money now which has not been claimed but was paid, it is actually in billions lying there in the state coffers. So we need to think of another way of making sure that people can attend to their trial. Because if I've given 3 sureties and they have been bonded, all of them saying, well, if he absconds, we shall pay this sort of money. Yeah. And you found them substantial. Why do you guys say, even you are choose, now you pay this amount even before we consider these sureties of yours? To me, it does not make sense. And this is a honest conversation, other than them getting annoyed. And by the way, I need to say this, Oscar. Everybody holding a public office is subject to scrutiny. And it doesn't matter who, whether you're a judge or whether you're an MP. That's why we're even having this conversation we've been having, both whether about Inspire Africa, whether about the alleged 100 and so on. It's because these offices are subject to public scrutiny, including those one of judges. So judges should not think that actually they are beyond scrutiny. That's why we discuss the only judgments when they have been made. So when Oscar is, I have just looked at this ruling again of Dr. Kizza Besigye. The judge finds that actually Dr. Kizza Besigye qualifies for bail. Then he said, much as if qualifies. But in my opinion, he's too influential, he re-influenced.
He's almost guilty.
And to me it is like, but there is no facts before you to make that finding. Because you see what would have happened is like the prosecution should have proved that actually Dr. Besigye is in the habit of interfering. Or these are the facts, even when he has been there, has tried to do this to interfere with this process. But pure an allegation, and you believe it, I think that is very unfortunate. Then the second one was that the accused is being charged of a very serious offense. No, that is not a legal consideration. Because if it was, nobody accused of a serious offense would ever get bail. So that alone, the seriousness of the offense alone, cannot be a reason to deny you bail. It can only be coupled with other consideration, which he had already found that actually Dr. Besigye, what's the word? Dr. Besigye meets, whether about sureties.
That seriousness of the offense.
Yes.
Say that there are those who are charged with treason who are out on bail.
They are there. And even Dr. Besigye himself, actually, he had been charged of prison before, and he was given bail, and he attended. And there's evidence there. So there was no precedent on which to base that sort of decision. So I find that what happened yesterday proves my case of the whole week, which went viral about my views on the way bail is being handled.
Agatha is the other lawyer in the studio. Bail and Dr. Besigye.
Okay, so
And we're running out of time.
So first, in all the maybe over 100 times Besigye has been arrested, this is the longest he has spent in jail. Because
there's a time he wanted to go back to jail, and the judge
over
said
100 times he has been arrested.
Gone.
When you say over 100, you're even talking about
500.
That's why I used the word. So, and you know, on all those hundreds of times he's been given bail, because he's never been convicted at any point, but also most of these
when he has been given bail, he
hard.
attends.
Yeah, he keeps going there back and forth until they discharge him. So yesterday's case, and that's a ruling, and that's the other thing that Abdu would say. It seems like it affects me because it made me so angry. So angry. I think apart from being abusing her power, the judge is also very heartless. Like, made us raised our hopes so high, because on every ground of bail, she agreed. She resolved it in the affirmative. She said that the sureties who include Ssemujju here, that where you are saying that they are younger than the accused, that it doesn't matter. It's not written anywhere that they must be necessarily older. On the seriousness of the offense, and by the way, she alluded to cases of Besigye like 3 times where he has been accused before, the rulings in Besigye's favor before. On the seriousness of the offense, that the FDC guys that were arrested in Kisumu recently, they were also charged with treason. They are out on bail. So she referred to that case, Sam Mako and others. So she kept saying that I agree, and she reached and said, although he meets all the conditions of bail, I deny him bail, because there was no reason. So, but also this is you are talking about someone who has been in detention for 5 months now. Like Abd said, the law in this country is that you are innocent until you're proven guilty, and it is the state that should prove that you are guilty, or you pleading guilty on your own. So if in 5 months you have not yet even,
I'm going to interrupt you because let me just 4 minutes of the show.
So you know that they have not yet even committed Chiza Besigye to the High Court. So there's nothing they have done about that case. And you as a judge, you're saying that someone should remain in jail for as long as the state will conduct investigations. There is a limit to pre-trial detention.
Yeah. Moses, do you have something to say on this one? I'd be surprised if you do.
Why?
He never comments on these things.
No, that's for Abu to. That's for on such a matter as Abu is my representative. But Agatha here mentioned that when the president made a committee or budget committee of parliament, he said, "Pass my budget."
That he did.
Well, the president is the owner of the budget. There's no doubt about it. It is by law.
Ssemujju, your microphone is not on.
No.
Moses, you speak. His microphone is not on.
The budget
He's going to
under
speak
the Constitution
for 2 minutes.
is presented to Parliament by the President. The Minister of... Yeah, the President is his.
It is his budget. What about Ssemujju? We are out of time. You are coming for your 1 minute.
It is his budget to implement the policies
I've
the
agreed with you,
President
Moses.
promised the people of Uganda in a manifesto. So the budget of a president, and so in any country, the budget is a vehicle for implementing what the president or the party or the ruling party has promised to the people of that country.
I sympathize with children who are doing law, and you're going to be reading these judgments from judges of High Court. The case of Dr. Besigye, I was in court. Because you see, the judge I was under the impression that she had written a judge granting bail, but when it went for approval to Chiwanuka Chiryo, who I'm told is a godfather, he said, okay, because we don't have time, like then MPs do with the budget. The body reads something else, the conclusion reads another.
No, but the judge should take our responsibility. I don't want to be an excuse.
No. I want to argue this in the context. Because this judge given a free atmosphere, I don't think she would have written the judgment that she wrote and then made that stupid conclusion.
She wrote it.
Yeah, but I want us to argue these things in context, Oscar. Because the judge grants Alan and M7 order for their arrest. The same thing that happened to the MPs who were arrested for corruption. And M7 was telling cabinet, I am the one who ordered for their rearrest. But these policemen should never go to rearrest people when they are not in uniform, because they make it look like it's
a kidnapping.
Yes, so
you know his opinions on bail. He's not a fan of bail.
Yeah, so that context cannot be missed in a debate like this. So because you see, this particular judge said on everything, as Agatha said, that USG has met the requirement. Although you have met the requirement, I am denying you the bail. And we were in court in the morning, the judge was nowhere, even the registrar took time.
But she's no longer a judge after that.
But she was there to hear the case after being transferred to the Judicial Service Commission.
They sworn just 2 days ago.
Yeah, but she knew she had been appointed. So really, until the case of Besigye, Museveni and his son, they want to kill Besigye without doubt. So the shortcut was the military court. The court now disbanded the military court. Now they must use the formal court. And
he also wants to kill you. No,
the son, he says he will kill me this year, but it doesn't matter. So maybe they are going to start with the message. Then all of us will follow.
It is the one.
Because he said he really feels very bad that his uncle Kagame has killed many people. Him, he has killed the rest.